The meeting, April 15th meeting to order. Bill, would you lead us on the pledge?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have some minutes to approve. April 1st, 2019 work session.
I move that those minutes be approved as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. April 1st, 2019 non-public, and the minutes were sealed.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
April 1st, 2019 regular meeting minutes.
Move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
April 8th, 2019 non-public work session.
Move we approve.
Have a second?
I was.
Mike's, got a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. The Select Board will meet on the following dates. Regular meetings, Monday, April 29th, Monday, May 13th, and Tuesday, May 28th. Work sessions prior to the regular meeting will start at 5 p.m. ESU Spring Fling will take place April 26th and 27th. Road bans for the town of Plymouth will be in effect from March 1st through May 1st, 2019, I'm sorry. Shouldn't read the script. Check it. A list of roads can be located in the town hall and on the town's website. Town offices will be closed on Monday, May 27th, 2019, in observance of Memorial Day. The Plymouth Memorial Day Parade will be held at 10:30. Lineup begins at 10 a.m. at the Armory. All of the above meetings will be held in the town hall unless otherwise posted. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify the town hall before 12 p.m. the Friday before the scheduled meeting. Alternate members are always needed to fill positions on the zoning and planning board. If interested, please submit a letter of intent to the Plymouth Select Board's office, 6 Post Office Square, Plymouth, New Hampshire, 03264. The board is seeking members for a new advisory budget committee and ask anyone with the interest in serving submit a letter of intent to the Plymouth Select Board, Town of Plymouth, 6 Post Office Square, Plymouth, New Hampshire, 03264. We have a plaque presentation tonight. Shawn Hanlon?
He's not here, John.
Okay. If not, do we want to,
We'll hold it.
huh?
We'll hold it.
For the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good. Any correspondence? Kathy, any correspondence? Appointments. My name is Andy McDonald. I'm writing to express interest in joining the Plymouth Parks and Recreation Commission. I have been a Plymouth resident for almost 5 years now and am a teacher at Plymouth Elementary School. In the past, I've served on the Plymouth Planning Board and thoroughly enjoyed my time. I'm looking to get back involved in the community and being a part of the great work that Plymouth Park and Recs does every year. Thank you for your consideration. We have a motion?
Make a motion that we appoint Andy McDonald to the Plymouth Parks and Recreation Commission.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Welcome aboard, Andy.
We must have an original copy to sign.
Yeah. And we have visitors tonight. Natalie? All right. You have a Girl Scout troop?
I do.
And you want to come and discuss community cleanup?
Yes, please.
If you'd like to come up front here. Bring some of the girls up.
The girls are going to speak if that's
All right. That'll be good.
We are Girl Scouts Brownie Troop 20183. We are all in second or third grade at Plymouth Elementary School. In our meetings this year, we have been working to earn our Outdoor and World of Girls Journey Award. For our outdoor journey, we have learned how to build a campfire. We went snowshoeing, sleighing, stargazing when we were at our camporee. For our World of Girls journey, we have learned about girls who have changed the world, such as Jane Goodall and Malala Yousafzai. We have also learned about what life is like for girls in Argentina and thought about the changes we would like to make in the world if we could. We would like to do something that will have a positive effect on our community. One part of our Girl Scout law is to use resources wisely and make our world a better place. We would like to ask your permission to do a community cleanup on Saturday, April 20th. This is one way that we would like to make our town a better place. We would also like to ask you, would you think our help might be most needed so that we can focus our time there? Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you very much.
What a great job. So yeah, we wanted to know if we could do the cleanup and if you had any advice about where we might want to do it.
Paul?
I'll take care of it.
Hmm?
I'll give them my contact information.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I would like to make you aware that there is another cleanup happening on that same day, and I don't know if you want to piggyback that. It's Fairgrounds Road. There's a whole huge group. I think, yeah, there's a sign up. Yeah.
Meet down at the pull-off down there.
Pull-off
Right, they
down
meet
there.
at the pull-off, and they'll have garbage bags for you, and so, I mean, that's one possibility. There's probably others that Paul knows
That's
of.
fine.
Do you know who the contact person would be for that?
I do, I can get you that.
You might have my email.
Yeah, I have your email. I'll send it, okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank you, girls. Thank you for getting involved in the community and being scouts. I was a Boy Scout and Explorer when I grew up, and it fared us well. We learned how to give back to the community and help out in the community. So thank you very much for coming here tonight.
Thank you.
And nice job in explaining that,
Yeah.
changing the world. That's admirable.
Yeah,
Yes.
good job.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Kevin French.
Seriously, I'm gonna follow the Girl Scouts, come on. You had to make me come in on that night? Thanks.
So I want to add one thing before Kevin goes. Kevin's here in response to what the Plymouth Economic Development Committee did. And a group of citizens got together. We had some input from some of the stakeholders in Plymouth. And a couple of the projects that were mentioned at that meeting were something that Kevin will hopefully be able to speak on today's meeting, so that people know that things are going on with economic development, where we're starting to hopefully plan for some things now, and we've asked Kevin to speak.
Okay. Now, and I assume this is, we're talking about, we're kind of limiting this to Green Street and Town West Road.
Yes.
Okay, and as we discussed a little bit earlier, and in some of the very preliminary discussions that we had at some of those meetings, I think one of the as I said before, one of the things I think we would look at doing would be getting those landowners together specifically, and the ones that own those properties, and putting them, trying to get them involved with the planning and layout and future development ideas for those properties, along with the traffic concerns that the town has on both of those roads. I know that the two, Green Street obviously is in downtown Plymouth, and Town West Road is out on Tenny Mountain Highway. And I think the town has different vehicles for studies and things like that going at different times, but I think it might behoove all of them and us to get together with each group independently before that, because there's not a lot of expense to getting together and going over the ideas with those landowners and see what they might be able to do and plan going forward. I know some of them, and I'm not speaking for those owners, but I do know that some of them obviously have, in both areas, have development plans, and it would be beneficial if, from a planning point, if we could kind of get those together, even if they're not going to happen at the same time, which they seldom do, but just try to put something together so that we don't have to do it one piece at a time, because it's one of the things that we always run into, is you're given one piece of property, you say, okay, you gotta develop this. Well, you can do it, but a lot of times it would be a lot better if you said, okay, I can develop this, but we could do something a lot better if we knew what, somebody had for plans out here, especially now where we're involved with interconnecting of different roads and things like that, particularly on Tenny Mountain Highway and Green Street as well. I know that they've talked about, a lot of repairs that may have to be done to water and sewer and highway on South Main Street. Well, it'd be awfully nice if there was a secondary access through there, so that we weren't, so that, I say we, got nothing to do with me, I live in Romney, so it's not, but so that we weren't, crippling the downtown businesses down there which would be affected by it if we still had a way to get traffic through there and things like that. So some of that, and like I said before, we talked about particularly Green Street a number of times, over the years, and, it's been good conversation, but we're still in the same boat we're in, except for a little worse, because development has gone on in that area that might have been done differently if, we had kind of a master plan on it. So that's, and the first meeting we had was more on, that I was involved in anyway, was more on Green Street. And, like I said, right now, there's a lot of very cooperative landowners that, we might want to, it would be a nice time to pursue some of that. And like I said earlier, I really don't want to come back here in 25 years and be having the same conversation, because I'm going to be really long in the tooth then, so. So,
All right. Any questions?
Sounds like a great idea. It's kind of
Well,
almost
and I
long
get-
overdue, so.
I guess the other question is, who and how do we implement getting that started? And I mean, I guess that's, I'm sure it's the town's initiative, but it's, some point in time, I think we ought to try to make it some type of joint venture. I mean, I know the people that I would assume, and I know some of the people that own the property would be interested in, in doing that. And I look at it, I would be interested in doing it. I'd just like to see it come to fruition. And, like I said, we've been down this road before, no pun intended, and we talk about it. We never take the next step to, implement something.
I think we got the right selectman
Yeah,
heading it up. Mike's not gonna,
yeah, well, that's
Mike's
great.
not gonna
'cause I
let the
think,
dust
it'd be-
settle on it, and
What I would recommend, John, is to get a list of the names and the phone numbers so that the town can contact them, set up a meeting with you, Kevin, and let us know who you think should be at that first meeting possibly. Maybe you and I can sit down at some point.
And I could get that ready without a meeting. I mean, I can get that ready.
Get the list together.
Get it together.
And maybe we could meet either at town hall with
Yeah, and-
the
yeah.
select few that we could start with and then go from there.
Yeah, I mean, we talked earlier, and certainly public input, is an, important thing to get too. But I think, personally, I think having the landowners on deck first is, more important. No respect to the townspeople, but these are the ones that are gonna be, directly impacted and affected, so.
And the main goal was to try and plan, as Kevin was saying, plan now rather than waiting when a couple other applicants have done build-outs and then their property becomes really hard to be part of the mix. And hopefully this would, in the long run, build up Plymouth's tax base of businesses and have more room for the business in the commercial district to expand. So really, it's coming down to the selectmen giving some direction to the development committee to work with Kevin to pursue both projects at the same time. And hopefully it's not a lot of money that's going to go out at first for talking and then coming back with more information to the select board.
And, to work with some people, doesn't have to be just Kevin, because you want a little more input than that, so,
Right, to
yeah.
the people that we're going to need, whether it's Joe, whether it's
Right.
the police chief, whether it's
Oh, sure,
the
yeah,
town,
yeah.
the town
Well, certainly,
engineer.
Joe. I mean, that would, some of any road things is going to be, fall on them sooner or later, the highway department, and the water and sewer department. I mean, you need to get them, or it'd be good to get them involved too. And the other thing I would think, that I would push for, is some type of thing to incentivize the landowners that are involved. There ought to be some reason to do this that's beneficial to them, because you get a lot more cooperation that way. Not that they're not going to cooperate, because I'm sure they would, but it's just, I always, from the development side, I always worry that, I don't want to, I hate to see it go, well, we're going to take this because it's beneficial to us. I think it's a lot better if we could work things that were beneficial to everybody, that landowners, and, they're the taxpayers, and
That's a good point.
and so, that would be my way of looking at it, so.
So
any other comments or questions?
what do we need to go
Yeah, were
forward?
you proposing that the board, do a motion to get this process going, or
Is it a motion that we would need?
is that what you're?
I would like that if we could.
Okay, we have a motion. to,
I would almost make a motion that we direct the economic development, we really don't have a committee, we have,
Yeah,
Maybe to-
downtown, and you have a downtown portion of the committee, correct? Or, I mean, it kind of fractioned off, or?
it's a parking committee
Oh,
for
okay.
downtown.
All right, well,
We have,
well, we'll develop one for that area out there.
I think it's going to take a motion from the select board to direct me to work with Kevin and interested parties in,
Why don't you
to push forward these two projects, and then to come back with more information to the select board when we have it.
sure. Second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Kevin.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Kevin.
Thank you. Next time, I don't want to follow the,
We'll put you before the Girl Scout. All right. Okay, Joe.
Hey,
Hello, how's it going?
good.
All right, what do you have?
Try to fix your puddle on Highland Street. So, got Latulip, who's been part of the project on Highland. And so I put together a price from him to try to fix that issue. We're gonna do some drainage, 200 feet of drainage in a culvert, and try to resolve that issue.
Is that the one where they have multiple drainage coming into,
Right in front of Eco Electric.
yeah, okay.
All right, we have,
Oh.
Didn't Ann tell you that there's only $14,000 left?
I was told it was to use 16, and then I came forward and asked you, I told you that. After that was talked about, I got together with water and sewer, and then there was an issue with going over one of their lines. So there's a conditional thing here that states that if they have an issue, that they might have to use that $2,000. If they don't have an issue, then they won't spend it. I know we had the conversation, so if you're not on board, then I'll just go back to the drawing board.
You and Ann had the conversation?
No, I had it with you, I had it with all of you. I put it together and I showed it to you. So, if,
I'll find it. I'll find it. We'll have to take it somewhere else out of the budget.
we put it all together, and then, as usual, every time I go to the drawing board with these projects, water and sewer gets overlooked. So I went to them and I said, is there gonna be any issues here? And he laid it out, it's right here,
what did he say? I mean,
that they have a water and sewer crossing that's pretty shallow. And so if Mike has to, he's hoping not to disrupt it, but if he does, then the money's there to compensate if there's an issue. If he doesn't and he goes right over it or under it without an issue, then
and after you discussed the 15,000 or whatever,
yeah.
then you came back and talked to Paul about the 2,000?
Yeah, I believe that I did have a conversation. It was a brief one, but I told him that this was conditional, that it wasn't going to be only on a need basis, if it's there if they needed to. So, I wouldn't be sitting here if I thought, you know, if it's not, the money's not there, then I'll just put it on hold.
I mean, the money is tight, and, you know,
Realize that.
we've had this discussion, so,
Yeah.
you have any other comments from the,
So what's the ramifications if it's not done? If you put it on hold, as you suggested?
You have a puddle until we can afford to fix it.
Or ultimately, during the wintertime, you'll have ice, because that was a problem that,
Yeah.
we experienced.
yeah, there's no doubt it needs to be fixed, and so.
I mean, and this thing is, as of right now, the school doesn't get out till the 25th of June. So chances are, this project's not gonna start until July. So we'll be in the new budget if that helps in any way, but,
So this will be a July project?
The money will have to come from the new budget. Don't have it in the existing budget.
we can make sure, I can make sure that it happens in July.
Do we have any other discussion with the board? Do we have a motion?
I'd just like to say, how long could, it go as is? So until there's definite money available somehow, without just throwing it out there and saying, hey, we're gonna have to find it somewhere. And is there a way to get the money without trying to pull it from something else?
Well, there's what? I was led to believe there was 16,000 left to do that project. So,
16,000 left from the original amount from
Right,
the
in-
Highland,
Highland Street project.
but there's only 14,000.
Okay, so.
I don't, that's what I'm asking, correct?
No, this is looking at 17.4 here, so there's a
Yeah, but
difference.
Paul just said there was only 14,000.
Oh, okay.
So I can certainly put this on hold till we can,
Is there anything like La Tulip could do with 14,000 that we do have left?
Are you-
Or this is the minimum, what?
I can't speak for Mike, but I do know that he always is on the bottom end of stuff, so there
Yeah.
isn't much room for him to.
Right.
Certainly can put this on hold till I can figure out where the other money comes from, if it has to be in July, and then come back to the board, if that works better.
If we were to hold off on this a little bit longer, just to make sure that we have appropriate money, appropriate funds for it, would it get pushed back until, say, after the next school year started? We'd almost have to wait maybe a full year then, possibly?
I don't think you could.
It can't.
Yeah, that's my, yeah, okay.
So.
We'll have a meeting and we'll find a way to get it done. After July
All right.
1st.
So I can get together with, and we can discuss this, and if it's planned for July, then I can come back to you maybe within the next 1 or 2 meetings and have a better plan for you. But I do know that Mike would like to do it right when school gets out, so,
Get a time schedule.
so
Well, do we want to,
and I should be able to find a way.
Is there a time frame, Joe? But did he give you a time frame on how long it would take?
He has a whole busy schedule for the summer.
Yeah,
So his plan is right when school gets out. So if I hold him off for a week, that puts us into July.
right.
So
And then you're gonna
the
have
first 2
school
weeks
starting.
of July.
August,
So
September? Yeah.
Right, I guess what I was asking, is it gonna take him a week to do it, or is it gonna take 2 weeks? Did he?
I would say maybe a week, maybe a week and a half at the most. It's not a big project. The biggest reason for waiting to do it is traffic-wise, for school to be out and not have to deal with school traffic.
Right.
And to dry up, it's pretty wet right now.
The other
Brian, I'll
question-
check with Ann and see where we can draw that money from.
So some of that stuff that was done last year for drainage, I mean, it's kind of fatiguing. I mean, the patches around the manhole covers and stuff, and those have to be like repaired or whatever. Is that going to be La Tulip, or is that going to be water and sewer, or is it going to be our budget?
I have an appointment with our town engineer. There's a few things that I'm not happy with, so we're gonna get together and put a punch list together and see who's responsible for what and try to
Yeah.
repair them and get it done.
On that list is the asphalt that's fissuring just before Wardbridge Road heading west. Is that on the punch
That's
list?
the top of my list.
Okay. Have you noticed it's all cracking?
Well, is there any more discussion about, like, having Old War Bridge hit reservoir, like at a right angle? I mean,
Not until that's a grant,
okay,
and we're not there yet.
right. Okay, well, still need a motion to accept this or
No, I
are we
would
gonna
wait.
hold off until another meeting then, or?
I would wait.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'll get back to you when we have it resolved.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
Can you stay until Colin comes up about the airport? Sure. Have your expertise? Thanks.
Thank you.
John, could we do Colin next while we have Joe here? John? Could we do Colin from the airport next while we still have Joe here, so he doesn't have to stay long?
Where's my
Colin?
There it is. Colin?
Hey, Colin.
Colin.
Some new
Okay.
faces. I haven't met
I haven't
you.
actually met you there, Brian.
Colin?
Nice to meet you, Colin.
But I hear you're a great piano instructor. So I hear.
We've had some erosion out at the airport. I have pictures there,
Oh, yeah.
and there's a map that shows the exact spot on the airport. So it's unusual, very unusual to have the erosion happen there because from various people, Dick Piper coming out to the airport and some other representatives from, I had one from National Resource Conservation Service, which they came out and gave some guidance, looked at it, and what we think is due to the very challenging weather that we had some rain in the middle of winter, and it packed the ice pretty tight at the low spot where the water should have gone. And then when we had all that snow melt, it just found a way down the field and then a weak spot and took out the road.
Colin, can you show us where the water's coming from on like,
Yes, if you look at your map, it has the arrow that indicates
The top one.
the water. When you go out to the field, it looks very flat, but there's really, there's a few inches of difference, and the runway is crowned the full length, and so anything from the midpoint of the runway south going this way is going to flow this way, and then anything to the north is going to flow, towards the Quincy Road. So the water, this whole area from the hangar out to the midpoint of the runway and over, so probably about 10, 15 acres, finds its way towards actually a point where you see where the road curves from the hangar towards and runs adjacent to the runway. Well, there's a point where there's kind of a natural runoff point where it naturally it doesn't ever fill with water, but that is the low point and it kind of goes there.
That's the flow line there.
Given the frost, the water can't permeate through the soil, and it ran alongside the snowbanks. And and then you can see the pictures. It found a weak spot, and see it cut through the soil and found a way out onto the steep side of the embankment that's above the wetland oxbow type wetland. It used to be part of the river. And all the material deposited down into the wetland, and it's on a budding property. It's not our property. So there's,
This one?
yes, that's
That's looking from the road
that's
down.
looking from the top down into the wetland. So it's pretty extensive. It took out the road. The damage does come right up to the runway safety area, and in all when we repair it or however it gets repaired, it does impact the runway. It's right to the edge of the runway. The airport's closed typically at this time. As soon as the snow melts, we close the airport until the ground is firm and
Soil.
all the frost is gone, and the soil can handle the weight of airplanes. So this is our normal time to close the airport, but it's the most delicate time for any type of field. So when we do open it, if it's not repaired by then, our plan is to shorten the runway. If you look at your map here, you'll see a point that has 3 runway cones on either side of the airport, and it's
Yep.
about 300 feet from the end
Yep.
of the runway. That would become the new runway end, which that's our displaced threshold, our normal. And what that is it's an aiming point for aircraft to avoid obstacles and maintain a standard slope, to avoid the trees that are out beyond the end of the runway. So that would be our new runway end. Our field would be reduced from 2,349 feet to 2,049 feet. It's manageable. It's it would be published. It would be, would have to be, in a judgment of whoever uses the airport. That we would have that documented in all the places where that information can be received. Other things, we do have the damaged area barricaded off, and so that there's plenty of warning for anybody that goes out there to avoid stepping in it or getting injured. So that's my overview of that.
Is that road plowed in the wintertime?
It is plowed. Typically, the hangar tenant, the owner of the hangar, maintains it with a 3/4 ton pickup, and occasionally we'll hire a tractor to go out there and just kind of break through the wind drifts, because being on the east end of the field, all the westerly prevailing winds toss all the snow off to that end, so it can become a bit difficult to get out there. And but towards midwinter, sometimes we break it open so that you can maintain access. Today I received correspondence from NHDOT Aeronautics, and they reviewed. The New Hampshire DOT Aeronautics came out and documented and took pictures, and they reviewed with their environmental department at DOT. And I just received their input today, and I'll just give you the details of what they suggest. So their environmental group believes that we would qualify for an emergency permit through the New Hampshire DES. And normally that's requested within 5 days of the event happening, but this situation, we may be able to still apply that. What they recommend is that we make contact with DES, and we have all of this documented. We have the pictures and everything. Maybe they come out, and we apply to get a permit. It's pretty important since it is within our runway safety area.
Yep.
And the wetland at the bottom of the hill. They mentioned that there's a roadway embankment restoration program, and maybe that could be applied to it. We'd have to find out from them. Another group we could contact is the Corps of Engineers. They may have jurisdiction over the wetland below. And they also recommend that we hire a wetland scientist, just to review it and give us some guidance. So it's been a tough winter, so.
Mm-hmm. Been a tough winter on everybody. Everybody's place. Go ahead, Paul.
If I can just ask Colin some questions and then
Yep.
Joe to get you up to where you can make a decision.
Yep.
Any of this money, is it all matching money that we're gonna have to come up with? Is any of this non-matching?
There is another program that came out very late in the year, in December, called the New Hampshire Airport Improvement Program. And we applied for some grants, and we were ranked pretty high. We received some grants for a new tractor for $25,000, and we received grants to remove trees for $6,000. And it's an 80%, 20% funded program. So 20% from our end, and 80% from the state. And that money comes from fuel taxes. So it's.
And
That's
Colin knows we're having trouble finding that match money. We
Yeah.
don't have it.
Right.
But what Colin wanted to do was, because what Colin does is sacrifice his tractor, which he's waited for about 7 years for, to use that money. But I think right now, we don't have another piece of equipment that can go out there and do what he needs done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get Colin to not sacrifice that money. We're just about finding money to be able to make our match. It's taken 2 months to find that money. Colin, in all these pictures, it's 100% gravel that we lost, right?
It's sand.
Outside of the earth, right, sand, gravel, no,
There's no
no
culverts.
bituminous, no asphalt, no.
It's all just naturally
Yeah.
deposited soil. If you look at it, I'm not a
Yeah.
soil scientist, but
Looks like
Where
it's
I'm
come
going with this,
apart.
Yeah.
We have all material on site.
Yes,
It
we-
washed away.
we do.
Joe, have you been out there? Can you knuckle down that overhang and collapse it into the void? And then put gravel out there to prevent any more erosion taking place before we can go out there? Chances are we'll get some grant money to reimburse the gravel footing.
Yeah, I have no problem working with Colin. My only concern is whether I should have DES work with them to make sure that we don't do something against their wishes.
No, I agree. What's it gonna take for you to get DES out there to work with you?
I can get in contact with them immediately.
All right, I'm leaving tonight for DC, but
And I'll
We're gonna-
need them up there.
2 selectmen work with you, and Joe, civil engineer. That was loose material that came out due to drainage. The material's still there. We have a rubber reel
Yeah.
excavator that Joe could bring out there, knuckle down that overhang that you have.
Yep.
That's your most dangerous piece right there. Knuckle that down into the hole to use that as existing material.
Yeah.
Drag up the rest of the existing material, bring in some loads, Joe, from the we have some material at the Hitchner site. Bring in material from the Hitchner site, that won't cost us anything per se. Right now, we'll have to replace it in the future.
Okay.
And they'll pursue the grant money. That will probably go towards highway, and if we do it that way, I'm pretty sure I could use Joe's work out there as our matching funds.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Is the material able to be pulled back from where it washed out?
I tried going out there today, he's done such a great job blocking it off, we couldn't get out.
Yeah.
So, it's, some of it's gonna be able to, at the direction of the DES, some of it will be able to be pulled out, because they're gonna want it pulled out of the wetlands anyway.
Yeah.
So it might mean it has to dry for a week. What I'm trying to say right now is get out there ASAP to prevent any more material
Yep.
going down that
Yeah.
bank
Yep.
into the wetlands.
Yep.
The big problem now isn't repairing it. We can live with a 300-foot short airways, just Don Stoke's the only plane that won't make
Yeah,
that.
that's.
We only have one plane that won't make that, and you could land it,
Oh, yeah.
okay? We're not in trouble. You don't have to panic over this. We're talking 300 feet. We've got plenty of room.
10% of the runway.
Yep.
Take our time, do it right. We might not have to come up with any money.
And rather than hire person, who did you want to hire?
Wetland,
Naturalists or wetland scientists, whatever?
Environmental scientists.
did you have somebody in mind?
Could we just borrow somebody from PSU or?
I have to look to see who's available.
Do you not feel that when DES comes out there, they're gonna use that eye that they have when they're looking at it and tell you what to do anyway?
Yeah. Yeah.
Colin.
If they had a concern, I'm just saying, if they had a concern, they would bring in their person.
They would. So maybe just have them come out.
Right.
Yeah.
I would just stop. Don't jump ahead of them. And they can hear us on television, and they're pretty honest with stuff like this. You have an emergency. They have money for these kind of emergencies. You're not gonna wanna spend more than what they have to spend. Yeah, they've got a whole department that handles this. I think there's gonna be plenty of expertise out there. You're not gonna need the Army Corps of Engineers. It's a terrible thing that's happened out there. The lucky thing is, there's no contaminated material out there. There's no asphalt that got mixed in with the rest of the dirt. It's not the type of material that we don't have at the Hitchner building. We can replace with 7 mission. But Joe, if we need 200 hay bales out there with a silt fence, we need 200 hay bales out there with a silt fence. Stop it from going into the wetlands.
Yep.
All right, let's do that this week. I'm not gonna be here, but you have more rain coming. So that's gonna be an ASAP, and because some signatures might be needed, I'm just requesting that a couple of board members be part of this. I won't be here to be able to sign for it.
Yeah. Mike Ahern and myself.
No, I think Bill,
Oh, you gonna?
Sure, I appreciate that, yeah, if I could.
Because normally I would be able to, well, it would be me signing for that, but 2 selectmen signatures.
Okay.
I'll try to
So Bill and
contact
I
them and
would
get
be
them out there,
available.
Colin.
Okay.
And
But you don't need for them to show up to have Joe start to mitigate
Yeah.
so that
It's best
it doesn't
to get
continue.
it started in good
I
faith.
mean, we're getting some news now that, I've gotten 3 notices, the river's not gonna flood. Always don't like getting it that early, we'll see. But it's stayed stagnant for the last 3 hours, I guess, so. This weather incident is over, but it looks like appears that after Wednesday, there's another one on its way.
Right.
So tomorrow's a real important day,
Oh, yeah.
so I think it has to be a priority.
First thing, I'll be, as soon as I can get people.
So I'm thinking you're probably saving $20,000 to $25,000 by getting out there tomorrow.
Yeah, we certainly don't want it to expand any further, so.
yeah.
And again, we've done such a great job at getting the traffic. It wasn't an easy grant to obtain. I wouldn't want to have to give it back after just getting it.
Just a note on a tractor grant, as much as I'd love to have a tractor,
I think we need it, because that might have, I think we should probably stick with that.
yeah.
There's my cell phone.
Okay.
You can get ahold.
Yeah, having the kind of tractor I asked for would have a bucket and an attachment, would be a good machine to prevent drainage issues from occurring.
Exactly.
Colin might have been able to
Enough.
take care of this himself had we been able to.
Yep, I know your tractor's shot, your current tractor's shot.
Yeah.
looks like you're gonna need drainage pipe under that road right there and a catch basin. And
It's the
Maybe,
wrong
Mike,
area
it
to
started
put
from the top down. It wasn't as much undermined. It looks like it in that picture. But it wasn't like it started 100 feet away, ran underground, and then took out. It wasn't a sinkhole. It was the edge of the,
Went the edge of the pavement.
right, the edge of the slope went first,
Well,
and then the water started going down and carving it out.
what we hope for is that now that the frost is kind of subsided, the soils are very permeable, and there won't be any flow going across the top of the surface, and that would limit any further damage, especially this week with all the rain.
Yeah. All right, well, give me a call when you're out
Right.
there, and then show up.
Will do.
All right.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Colin, good job.
Great job. Thank you. Okay. The Brownfield Grant?
Jeff Hayes has been talking to me and Bill from the Lakes Region. There's a chance that so many people have complained about the Hitchner site not quite being mitigated of hazardous waste, that we could have it checked once and for all at no cost to the town. And Jeff has done a good job working with Brownsfield to go down there and look at the monitoring wells that already exist from years ago and just give the town's portion a clean bill of health, because we do a lot of work down there for the highway department. I don't know if that'll continue to go off to the side where the piece that doesn't belong to the town also has monitoring wells. But right now we have to make sure that we're not liable and that there isn't still movement down there of hazardous material. And Jeff would like to submit it as a Brownsfield project. And since it doesn't cost us anything to see if it will be covered by Brownsfield, just ask them to go ahead and at least let the board know if it is going to cost us anything.
Okay.
And, yeah, Novus Engineering is going to be doing the, the study.
Right? If you don't know who they are, they're the ones that did the landfill closure.
Okay.
Recycling center. And that's just by coincidence.
All right.
And
Committee-
now the board has to vote on the final agreement from the New Hampshire Co-op,
Okay.
being that they did not counter your offer to only accept interest on one payment going forward. So the public knows 3 payments are going to hit the next tax rate setting, which is about 61 cents. You correctly, I believe, try to ask for 6 months to be bumped up, so that only 2 of those would hit the tax rate setting, which would have been about 40 cents. Kind of came back worse than the first offer was, well, we're going to charge you interest on all 6 payments.
Yeah.
So the board, I believe, agreed, or our attorney believes that you agreed to just go with their original offer
Yes.
and have 3 of the payments, the refunds, hit this tax rate setting.
Okay. Do we have a motion to?
Didn't we have, wasn't there a document, what's that document that
The
we just
attorney,
referred to?
because he went back and forth with the co-op and their attorney, he just wants a clear public meeting. You know, you've negotiated with the attorneys and through legalese and all the emails, but not at a 6 o'clock public meeting. And even explain a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, I don't have the details in front of me, but there are 6 credits that we have to reimburse the co-op for overpayments that we required of them. It was something like $437,000 for each credit. And, even though we tried to lessen the impact to the town because the payment due dates were not correctly figured so that we would have 3 years of 2 payments each.
Right.
Now we have 1 year of 3 payments, and
First year. Yeah.
so, that's what we're facing, I guess, and
And each one of those refunds is $72,500.
right.
So it'll be about 61 cents at the current tax rate.
Yep.
And just keep in mind, that doesn't mean that if the assessment of the overall town goes up,
Yeah.
there'll be a tax impact. It's if everything stays status quo and there is no increase in the overall wealth of the town's assets, that's what the impact could be.
So there is a document, though, that has the payment, plan already in it, that I guess, didn't we already make or at least at this point, we can make a motion to go forward with that
Accept it.
document?
Accept the original proposal.
Yeah,
You had the draft, you don't have the final document that you'll
So-
be signed.
Okay, all right.
He,
Then
you
I-
have to, he needs you to accept it in concept or reject it as it is.
I make a motion that we accept the proposal that was first submitted to the 7 towns? Is that what it was, or?
Right, you've already accepted that, you did vote this. This is for the Town of Plymouth's agreement with the co-op. The 435,500 for the retro part of it, and then the going forward part. We're at their overall assessment, I believe Kathy is down about $4 million
Yep.
each year, which goes into eternity where we lose $100,000 because tax rate's $25.30. That means every $1 million that we lose is equal to $25,300 of revenue.
It sounds horrible, it is horrible, but the alternative is to go to court and face probably a loss for the fact that the rate itself was, rather
And
sketchily.
going back to what Mike said, we were part of a bigger group of first 9 and then 8 other towns that accepted this agreement as a group. Everybody's math is different.
Yep.
Ours is $435,500 that we're losing in the retro part. Molten Boroughs is $127,000. Difference being $480,000 in Plymouth increases the tax rate or lowers the tax rate by $1. In Holderness, $3 million, believe it or not, increases or lowers the tax rate by $1. So a dime for us is $48,000. A dime for Molten Borough is $12,000. I'm sorry, a dime is $300,000. Before. So if they lose $300,000, they only lose a dime. If we lose $300,000, we lose 3 times 48.
Okay, do we have a second?
Yeah, did we have a motion? We had a motion, right?
Motion to accept the offer that's on the table from the co-op. Does that work?
It's,
Okay, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 no discussion.
Okay, any committee reports?
So, Brian Murphy and I met with a gentleman from the New Hampshire Cooperative Extension about possibly working with us on a project for economic development for the town of Plymouth. The only project that really seemed like it might fit with the characteristics of their capabilities would have been Green Street. So I'm going to continue to talk to them, but there is a fee, which Plymouth, they have waived at times. And the plan was for them to come in and talk to the select board to see whether this is something you want to go forward with. It may not be something we want to go forward with after talking with Kevin today. So I'll talk with a gentleman tomorrow. The other item, that's it for me.
We had planning board, we had a work session, and we looked at implementation issues and discussion on zoning and whether or not there's an appropriate use of zoning, especially downtown area, and maybe looking at our rural residential and what that might entail. So unfortunately, there wasn't a quorum. It was kind of like we needed a few more people at that meeting that were there, and we're going to be bringing it up at a future meeting as well.
Okay.
So.
I had none.
I have none.
John, you don't have anything?
No, I didn't have any.
So I have one more comment to make. I was going through some old family slides. It was brought to me to kind of go through them. We're going to duplicate them. And some of the slides that I started looking at was Plymouth, and it was a parade. and the date was roughly 1963. So I remember Plymouth's 250th, just a few years ago, I went and looked back, it was, I think, 2013, and I went 50 years back. We have pictures of Plymouth's 200th anniversary of their parade. And my family, I wasn't alive, I was still not born, they were standing right in front of the building where the Republicans have their office. How funny. And they were taking pictures of that big, beautiful building, the Plymouth Inn.
Okay.
And it was right there in its glory, with all the floats going through and the marchers. And so I contacted one of my older sisters and I said, do you remember going, because we were living in Claremont at the time, and I go, do you remember coming back to Plymouth for a parade at any time when you were young? And she goes, yeah, we might have. Why? And so I have a lot of pictures I'll hopefully be sharing at some point.
Nice.
Okay, do we need to?
No, I do have one more thing, though.
Okay,
Today, I met with the interim director of water and sewer, and he is basically seeking an invitation from the board, for the two boards to get together and meet his two boards
That's
at a
great.
public work session.
awesome.
That's great.
So it was a real good, positive meeting today. And, so if you could draft a short invitation or we'll just have Kathy write something to Don Judd.
Yep.
And if you don't know him, he was the head of and owner of MRI.
Well, he's the interim director?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Do you remember him and Joe Lassard?
Yeah, he was at the annual meeting.
Right, well, I guess he semi-retired about 7 months ago and then didn't like it, so he's back, and I think we all know him through all the years if you work for the municipalities system, and so at least now he's there and he's a good person to work with, and
Great news.
definitely sees the advantage of the two boards coming together and just looking at our future and trying to coordinate things between the two departments.
That's
and
great.
resolve some things that we need some clarification on that hasn't been all that clarified in the past. It'd be a good meeting to have our highway superintendent there, and they'll have their superintendent.
Yep.
And that's the thoughts anyway, but to start off, before he can approach his board, there's an invitation from this board.
So,
And I don't think that needs to have a vote. I think we can just,
Yep, we just extend
it's
the
all set
letter.
with you. I was thinking that 2 weeks from now, we'll at least make that. date
29th.
available. That's it.
And John, my daughter's in the audience from her class at school. Hi, Julia.
You can take care of that when you get home.
I think I saw her cringe when you said
Was
you
your
found
other
some
daughter here
pictures,
today?
family pictures.
Talking about him.
They were all over our dining room table. Like, we couldn't eat there.
But you did eat, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for coming tonight, and I guess you need some paperwork signed?
Yeah.
All right, good, we'll take care of that. All right, we have nothing else? We have a motion?
We adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.